Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talks with Tina, where we are pursuing our most true and authentic self by what? Uncovering our roots. I'm talking a little low because my nephew is over there sleeping, but I was brainstorming and I have a pretty good topic in mind, and it's kind of sitting with me heavy. And the topic is when the clock strikes 12. And I was kind of reminded of Fiona from Shrek. And y'all know how she's so cute, nice little princess, but as soon as the clock struck midnight, or whatever time it was supposed to be, I think it was like as soon as the night, came down. But she went in a cave and she like hid because she turned into this ogre. And then I was also reminded back to the story of Cinderella, and when the clock struck 12, guess what? She had to go running because the most unpleasant side of them were to be exposed. So that's kind of my question to you guys, is when the clock strikes 12, who are you hiding? When that clock strikes 12, who are you running away from? Who are you trying to get everyone to not see? And that was Fiona. But you know what also came to mind is that there's always this one person who sees them through their ugliness, right? And or who their light shines brighter through that ugly side. And Shrek was that person for Fiona. And Prince, whoever, in Cinderella, was his name Prince Charming? I don't know. But the prince, the king, whoever, um came, and despite her being a freaking maid and a servant, that he still saw her fit because her beauty was shining through even in her ugliness. So if I'm putting this story on myself, when my clock used to strike at 12, even now, like sometimes it's some days where, like right now, my room is a mess. That's what I'm hiding from the folks, that my mental right now is not 100%. I got too much going on. But back then, before I even started this healing journey, I would literally be hiding away from like my sadness, like still not feeling fully appreciated and worthy. And that's because it wasn't showing up in my relationship, or being a crazy girl, stalking people's pages at 12 o'clock at night and stuff. Long sleepless nights, that's what I was doing when my clock was striking 12 o'clock, is that I was running away from all my insecurities. I was running away from putting this facade up that I was constantly like this happy-go-lucky, always cheerful, always positive person. But I was going through my own struggles. I just took my hair out and there's hair flying everywhere. And so that was my things that I was hiding. And I think oftentimes there's always this facade we put up. Like if you are always fake, this kind of goes back to faking the funk. If you're putting on this facade that you're something that you're not, always when that clock strikes 12, you gotta run, because that means that real you is gonna be showing. But I guess the hope that comes from this is that even with your dark side, like your ugly side, that there's always your ugly side actually shines brighter than that face that front that you're putting on. And I think I love how I was reminded of that with Shrek and Cinderella. It's just like, even through my ugliness, there's always going to be, someone who sees the light through my ugliness. And I think if you take a picture, like, think about that. Like, it doesn't have, like, for my ladies, it's not always a man. Like, a man is not, if you don't even address your ugliness, a man can't see through it, because, you constantly, like, you don't even know what that ugliness is, or that dark side. I don't like to say ugly, but that dark side of yourself that you're always trying to hide. And for my men, it's not a lady either. Like, sometimes it can be just a random stranger who helps you see the light through your ugliness. Like, they, just that one random encounter that kind of changes everything for you. And for me, it took me Like, I don't know. And I look back on this, like, my random encounter was literally with God, but the vessel through that was like Sarah Jakes. Like, I literally remember sitting at work watching one of her sermons, like crying my eyes out. And then I look back on that sermon, literally look back on it tonight, and the emotions were completely different. And it's because I've had that encounter that made me switch my whole narrative. And I think if you can think of somebody, or even if you haven't had it yet, just start realizing that sometimes that one encounter can change their whole flip. Like sometimes you literally just don't know who you're impacting. Like if you just dare to show that ugly side of you, or that dark side of you, that your darkness might be somebody's light. And that kind of sucks to say, like, oh, even in the midst of my pain, that it was somebody's light. But you just never know. And I told y'all, I'm on this kick of you never know who you can impact just by being yourself. That it doesn't take wearing all these masks or wearing all these jackets and hats of what you think people want you to be or who you think you are. That you just truly never know who you're impacting. And again, how do we full circle that? Is when the clock strikes 12, what is that dark side? Like, what are you running away from? Who are you hiding when the clock strikes 12? Are you going home and drinking a whole bottle of liquor? When the clock strikes 12, are you texting somebody to come lay up next to you because you can't compete with your own loneliness? When the clock strikes 12, are you sitting there, crying your eyes out because your day is just in shambles? When the clock strikes 12, are you literally contemplating suicide? When the clock strikes 12, are you having those rapid thoughts about that molestation that you've had? Like, it's so many dark sides, but when you finally let those thoughts and that side show of you, your light will shine through. Like, I always like authentic. Like, what is authentic? And I think to me it's literally just letting those dark sides show through no matter what the circumstance is. Because if you think of it like this, like, if you show those dark sides, nobody can make their own assumption of what your dark side is, or come at you sideways about your dark sides, because you've already owned it. Like, yeah, that's me. That's what I've been through. But guess what? I made it out. So you might run when the clock strikes 12, but guess what? I get to stand present when that clock strikes 12 at any given moment now. My clock is going to keep going. It keeps ticking. That's the thing with time. It keeps going on. But if you had to keep hiding from it, you're going to forever be chasing time, running away from time. The most precious thing we have right now is time. So if you constantly running away from the time, all the bad times, you're gonna lose in some way, shape, or form. So full circle that when the clock strikes 12, start standing present with that time. Stand present with the time. What is it that I'm running away from? How is my darkness going to show to everybody else? And I think if you can sit there and own that, of what your darkness is and how it becomes present to somebody else, you might impact somebody enough to let your light shine through that darkness or that ugly side. And, make a difference. Pretty ain't always good. I don't even think that's like a real saying, but the good ain't always good. You feel me? Grass ain't always greener. What's another one? Everything that glitter ain't gold. That's what I said. So literally, start owning your darkness or your ugliness, because eventually those are the things that make your light shine brighter. I'm learning that every single day. My light is shining brighter because I own my ugliness. And again, my pain is not your pain. Literally, y'all know this started with a breakup, simple breakup. But for me, my darkness was hiding my self-worth. Every time the clock struck 12, I was hiding from my self-worth, or trying to hide that I didn't deem myself worthy of love, a better love, whatever. And again, whatever that darkness is, start letting your light shine through it. because eventually those masks are a part of you. It's just that you're masking what truly is you. And so I dared to let my mask, literally be a part of me and not me, not make up, what I want people to think of me. Like, yeah, my masks are a part of me, but they're not masks anymore. They are me. Like, I'm genuinely happy. I don't have to fake being happy. I'm genuinely, not perfect. And so I'm not going to wear a mask of being perfect. Um, so I think that's the chat. Start owning your darkness. When the clock strikes 12, stop running. Be present with the time. Don't run away from it. Because then when the day breaks, it's just a vicious cycle of being present and hiding. Being there and hiding. Being there and hiding. And one of these days, just like Fiona, Shrek caught him. And then darkness caught up to her. Yeah, but he saw her light in all the darkness. Be the light for somebody else in all your darkness. Because you never know. Your darkness could be their light. I'm always about being light for people. But I had to own that sometimes my darkness was not shining through. Because I wasn't owning my dark side or my ugliness. If that makes sense. So, that's our chat.